All right, so I got a question through inside the Power Tribe yesterday, and she said, Perry, I suffer with self confidence and belief in myself. It holds me back in all walks of life. And when I have to do something that I think I won't be good at, or manage or apprehensive about, I start to worry and stress for days before and don't sleep. Now, I've been having a real hard think about this one, especially since she posted this yesterday. Think about the best way to give a response to this because I don't dish out advice on things that I haven't done myself. So I won't tell you to do X, Y, and Z if I haven't done it myself and can tell you, hey, X, Y, and Z helped me and changed my life. So give this a crack and see if it can help you. If I haven't done it, then I'm not going to say it. And I've been really thinking about it, and it brought me back to when I was 16 years old. And what had basically happened was I was living in London and I was at Richmond College. And that version of myself when I was in Richmond College was full of like just low self-confidence across the board, really. But especially when it came to, well, not across the board completely, but when it came to an area like girls, for example, massive self-confidence issues, massive. And I'd watched a lot of American Pie. I wanted to be a Stifler like everyone did, my age back then. And I knew that wasn't the life that I wanted to live. I wanted to be popular with the girls. I wanted to be popular with male friends. I wanted to be the man on campus type of thing. And it wasn't working out that way. Now, I remember when we moved out of London and my parents bought a house in Bracknell, which is in Berkshire. And I'm in the back of the car going to this new location. And I remember thinking to myself, nobody knows me here. Nobody knows me. So I can create a new character, which is like the actor part of myself, being like, I can create a new character, step into those shoes. And when these new people meet this new character, they're not going to know any different. So therefore, I really have just an open field here to do what I want and act how I want. Now, don't get me wrong. Back then, I used it in quite a sort of negative way. I created lies like I'd slept with lots of girls and people believed it. And it was very much a fake it until you make it. And I did become that person. And that was my life for a little while. And then, we're talking many years now and things started to shift and change and take form, put me onto a path that then led me to where I am now. But this question reminded me of that. And that's what kind of sparked what I believe is my answer to this question about increasing your self-confidence across the board so you can actually start living a life in the way that you want to live it. And it falls under, I mentioned it just now, fake it until you make it. It does fall under that, but if you do it in the right way, it serves you, right? So we're going to sort of label this as fake it till you make it. Now, there's one sort of exercise, way of thinking, whatever you want to call it. It's a long-term play that I believe if you actually take this seriously and you start doing it from this very moment, it will completely transform your life. It's not like if you Google how to increase your self-confidence and they'll give you an exercise to do or go and speak to a stranger on the street or something like that. That's more of a momentary getting out your comfort zone, which does work. They all have a part to play. But I believe that we need to go much further than that in order to have a long-term changing effect on how we operate and show up in the world. And that is one of immense confidence. So we can do whatever we want, whenever we want. Okay, living our life with complete freedom and actually believe that we're worthy of that, which then comes back to self-confidence and self-belief and self-worth. Okay. And it's under the whole sort of concept of the next version of yourself. So I want you to bear with me throughout this. Okay. It's about the next version of yourself. So back then when I was 16, I created a new character. Now, as time has gone on, I've looked back and I've kind of restructured it and done it in more of a positive, more tactical change to better suit me with how I am now and where I want to go. And that is creating like a 2.0 or a 3.0. So right now, currently in my life, I'm on a Perry Power 3.0 journey, okay, to step into the shoes of Perry Power 3.0. Now, if this is the first time you're understanding this concept and you're hearing about it, then more likely than not, moving forward, it's going to be 2.0 version. So it's going to be, for example, Perry Power 2.0 for you. Okay, so we're going to use that example throughout this video today. But it's understanding that who you are now with what you lack confidence in, whether it is applying for the job, getting on stage to do a talk, doing your first live video on Facebook, whatever it is where you're like, oh, I don't feel like I can do that, or I don't have the confidence to do that. I'm sweating out my ass like I do. I've got a thing, right? Right. No matter how confident I am, it's out the other end. It's not happening. Or you're losing sleep over it, whatever it's going to be. It's like that. All of those things make up the version that you are today, which means that it's your current reality. So what we need to do is we need to shift that reality, and we need to shift that into creating a 2.0 version of yourself and work towards that, because that is the only way that you can start to shed your old identity and adopt a new one. Okay, so I hope you're following along to this and understanding that it's not an overnight thing. It's something that you've got to build out now, create a plan of action so that every single day you do one thing, then a compound effect takes over. And then before you know it, you'll be living that life of the 2.0 version of yourself. All right. So what I want you to do, I've literally created a list here of a step-by-step process for you to actually now go out and implement this. So pen and paper at the ready. What I want you to do is I want you to write this down. Okay. I want you to use an app. There will be other apps out there. If you've got one, great, use that. But if not, then just to make this simple, just go along with my suggestions here. The first one I want you to do is Miro, Miro. It is a free account. What we need to do here today, I think you can do it on a free account. And you've got like a mobile app, and you can do it on a browser as well. But it's basically, it's like a creative board, vision board, all combined. Okay, where you can zoom out, zoom in, all that good stuff. And we're going to use this to create the 2.0 version of yourself. Now, at the end of this, I'm going to loop this back around to really sort of solidify why all of this work that we're going to do right now is going to give you that long-term effect of growing confidence. Okay. So we're going to use Miro. And when you're in Miro, what you're going to do, and save this video, so when you actually go onto Miro, you can follow along and actually do this. But on the top of Miro board, you're just going to title it your name. So me, for example, Perry Power 2.0. That's what you're going to do. At the top, for me, I have it as a post-it note on the Miro board. You can, edit, you can grab a post-it note, pop it on there, put text on it, Perry Power 2.0. You're going to do the same, but your name, of course. Now that's like the sort of title. And underneath it, this is where the magic happens, okay? So what I want you to do is you're going to open up a new tab and you're going to go into Pinterest. Now, Pinterest is amazing. It really is, with how we're going to use it today. So with Pinterest, like algorithms on any website, it starts to show you more of what you've been selecting previously. And we're going to use that to our advantage. What I want you to do is, first of all, you need to close your eyes and actually visualize what that next version of yourself looks like. So what sort of lifestyle they're living, what sort of clothes are they wearing, what house or apartment are they living in, what does their partner look like? So if you're single now, what does that partner look like? If you're in a relationship, what does a relationship look like as a 2.0 version? What are the life of your kids, if you have? What's the car that you're driving? What's the job that you have? Or what's the business that you have? What's the music that you listen to? Like everything. I'm talking everything, okay? Go OTT on this. Really picture out every single detail you can possibly imagine for the 2.0 version of yourself. Once you have that, then you're going to go onto Pinterest, and then you're going to, with everything that you've been envisioning for 2.0, you're going to find the keywords of those and pop those into Pinterest. So for me, for example, my Perry Power 3.0 is one that wears clothes that has been made in Italy. So Italian fashion, I just love it. Is very old English vibes, very old money. I love old money and how that looks as an image. Old Italian classic cars, right? Louis Vuitton shoes, private jets with the missus, what my relationship looks like with my girlfriend, where we're like this, power couple, sexy, beautiful, inspirational couple. The interior design in the place where I'm living is like dark green, old oaky, woody, greenery, old English vibes. That's just a snippet, but there's loads of it. So you need to figure out what that looks like for you. And then you'll go into Pinterest and put in, for me, for example, Italian clothes on men, right? And then there'll be red carpet America for movies. It would be Louis Vuitton, it would be Power Couple, things like that. And when you start to select these images, and then you can like grab these images and put it into your own like board, I think they call it. So you can create your own different boards. So I have a Perry Power 3.0 board, and all these images are put into there. And as you start to do this a little bit, what you'll find is that you will then go onto Pinterest on the explore page. You'll obviously need to create a profile, so this board is in your profile. And when you go on to Pinterest a few times after you've initially done that, Pinterest will then show you on the explore feed more of all of that stuff. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because then you start to see things that you wouldn't have picked out before, right? But it's more of that 2.0 version of you. Like, wow, that is more. That's a bit of me. That's a bit of me. That's more of me. That's what I want. If I had the money, this is what I'll be living like. X, Y, Z. If I had the emotional freedom, this is how I'll be living my life. All these types of things. And then you just grab more of those pictures, put it into the board, and then it's just a rinse and repeat. And then every time you go onto Pinterest, it's telling you what 2.0 looks like in a visual form. When I say this is powerful, that's an understatement. It is night and day. Like, it's crazy. So what I want you to do is grab loads of images. Then on that Miro board, you're just going to put the images on a board. It can be a hot mess. It doesn't need to be in any specific order. And also what I must say is that I'm giving you a rough guide here on what I do. You don't have to do every single thing. You can, and you can do more. Like, do this in your own intuitive way, because that's what makes this map that we're creating, this visual map, very connected to you. And that's what's going to make this work. Okay. So images, once we've done the images, next what we're going to do is we're just going to create like a table or a list or whatever you want to do underneath those images of the values, of what the core values are. Now, I do have a belief that we, you, me, everyone, live our lives by our core values. But a lot of time we're not aware of that. We're not aware that we live in our life by core values. It's why we get, pissed off with some things and we love some things. And, and we don't usually think to why we just had that trigger, whether it's good or bad. For me, for example, I'm a big visionary. I can't work on anything without connecting it to the big vision. And that works in my favor a lot of times, and it doesn't work in my favor a lot of times too. I know that when things get booked into my calendar, especially if I didn't request it, it's the one sure way to piss me off. Because now I don't have a get out. Now I'm bound to that hour or 2 hour slot in my calendar. And that for me is not freedom. Freedom is one of my values. But I was being triggered by that for so long without knowing that was one of my core values. Now I'm aware of it. Now I can make it work for me. Okay. So I have 4 core values. Number 1 is vision, followed by freedom, followed by intuition, followed by resilience. And then I have next to it sections like information as to why. So for example, here's how I've done it, right? So I've got vision, and it says Perry sees the world through the lens of his vision. He thinks big. He thinks of what he hasn't done before. When he closes his eyes, it's his own world of film. And if he can picture it, then he knows it can become true. Then the next one, freedom. Perry protects his freedom of everything he has. Freedom, blah, 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 blah. And I just basically do a little statement like that next to each one. Okay? So I urge you to do the same thing. And what you'll find is, really sort of think about how you're living your life right now and how that can connect to values. You can go onto Google and be like, what are core values? And then you'll see like a list of 100 different core values. Look through those, take out loads of them, and then whittle them down to 4 or 5, and then prioritize them. What's number 1? What's number 1? What's number 2? What's number 3? What's number 4? And then if you've got 5, what's number 5? Okay. Because once you know them, you're then going to see how that can start to help you step into the shoes of the 2.0 version of you. Okay. Because what you'll find is that version of you that you need to become is very much in control of the life that they're living in all areas. And you can only be truly in control of your life in all areas when you know the values that you live by. Now, next is, what are 4 to 5 non-negotiables that the 2.0 version of you has? There's no right or wrong, a non-negotiable. So something that it doesn't matter what happens, they're not doing it, or they are doing it. It doesn't matter what happens, I'm not taking business calls in my evenings. Doesn't matter what happens, I'm not doing any business calls on the weekends. Okay? Doesn't matter what happens, but every Tuesday night, I'm having date night with my girlfriend, for example. Okay, whatever it is, what are the non-negotiables? And it can be what you'd like what's been in your mind. Yeah, I'd like to do that, but I just haven't gotten around to it, kind of thing. Or if you're projecting into the world of the 2.0 version, what are non-negotiables that they're living by that allows them to live that life? All right. So you're going to write 4 to 5 non-negotiables down. Then what I want you to do, we've got 4 more here. Then what I want you to do is to map out a daily routine. Now, this is a bit of an example. It doesn't mean it's exactly how they're going to live their life or how you're exactly going to live your life when you reach that stage. But it just helps you to further visualize what you need to do differently in order to get to that next version of yourself. So what's the sort of daily routine? Are they waking up and lounging around in their pajamas until 1 p.m.? Are they waking up and getting suited and booted, even if they don't have an office to go to? Are they having lunches twice a week? Are they going out for dinners 3 times a week? Like, are they going away 1 week a month to a different location? Are they running events? Right? Well, that's a daily routine. Are they eating takeaway meals? Do they take no calls? Like, do you know what I mean? So what are the map out an example of a daily routine? And then what we want to do is also map out some yearly accomplishments. So what could you expect over the course of a year for the 2.0 version, some yearly accomplishments? Is it launching a new product? Is it buying a new wardrobe? Is it taking the family on holiday? Is it couple of weekends a year that they go away privately to a lodge to do meditation or to write or whatever it is? Is it that they run a yearly event? Is it that they, for my 2.0, my 3.0 version of me, some yearly accomplishments would be to greenlight 3 scripts. Okay, so that's getting it written and funded for 3 of them. And it's to film a full-length feature film in a year. Okay, so that's an example of mine. So, and then next, we're going to do list out habits. So what are some habits? And now this one is going to be painstakingly obvious that the habits of your 2.0 version will not be the habits that you have now. Okay? Because to get to the next level, underneath all of it is the habits, because it's the habits that creates a compound effect to get you to where you need to go. So what are the habits that a 2.0 version of you has? All right? And then this one is a rogue one, but it works for me. Again, I don't know if this one worked for you, but definitely give it a shot and just see. For me, I'm a massive, massive music guy. Music speaks to me in a way that nothing else does. So like whenever I write scripts, I always write scripts along to music. And that's always going to be a thing for me. Whenever I do films, there will always be music in my films because I believe that it just moves people and it really gets a story out there in a way that some other things doesn't when music isn't connected to it. So I then bring that along to Perry Power 3.0. So what music is Perry Power 3.0 listening to? Is it jazz? Is it classical music, for example? And then, so for you, think about 2.0, what sort of music are they listening to? It doesn't need to be music that I listen to every single day, but I'll give you an example. So Perry Power 3.0 is way more social than I am now. I am a social person, but because of just how business has been and how I've operated over the years, I've been quite a home body. I've been at home a lot, but that's not really how I want to live my life. I don't like being enclosed in fucking brick walls. It does my head in. I love to be out there in the world. And I love jazz bars, like classic, like classy places. I'm a classy man, all right, for a classy place. And with these classy places, they'll have music on, maybe soft piano, maybe soft jazz. I went to a club in London last year. I think it was last year or the year before. And it was a jazz bar, but it was quite loud and improvisational jazz. And I actually wasn't a fan of it. And that was interesting for me to know. So that helped me dial in the music even more so for Perry Power 3.0 with what jazz he likes to listen to. So that specific genre of music there connects to a scene/setting that's part of that vision. So do the same for yourself, okay? So you're going to figure out the music, and then you're going to put some music together on Spotify or on Apple and create a little playlist, and you can call it 2.0, okay? And then we'll come back to how that's going to take effect in just a second. And then once we've done that, so now on that board, you're going to have a lot of shit on there, a lot of stuff on there for this. It's almost like you've just been casted for a film and you've got to do character research for this character that you're going to play, and you've got all this stuff on there, and you know how they walk, you know how they think, you know what they look like, you know what their values are, you know what their daily habits are, and that is how you can step into those shoes, okay? Because details give you clarity, and clarity gives you a pathway of taking action. So now that we've done all of this, now what we're going to do is grab a blank piece of paper, and we're just going to draw out just a stick person, just like that. Nothing fancy. You don't need to be an artist, okay? So just like this. And then once we've done the stick person, all right, we're then just going to draw out lines coming off that stick person. And on each line, we're just going to write out something of you today. So for example, current habits, okay? What are your current habits? What's your current relationships look like? What does your current financial situation look like? What's your current fashion looking like? What do you wear on a daily basis? What's your current values look like? How you currently live in your life? And just keep on going until you feel like you've written out everything that, if you was to look at it, that is you, and exactly how you live your life. That is you. Okay. And this isn't about good or bad. This isn't about positive things and negative things. This is just about detailing what you're like today. Then once you've done that, you're going to take that piece of paper, you're going to get a match, you're going to burn that shit. All right. Or if you don't believe in fires and enclosed spaces, then you can scrunch it up and you can spit on it. You can take a shit on it. You can put it in the bin and then throw that bin outside. Just get rid of it, because that resembles you shedding that identity, because that shit doesn't serve you and it hasn't served you. If you're here watching this and you're lacking confidence in areas, which then means that there's probably other things, because if you're focusing on the fact that you don't have much confidence, what happens then is you start to find proof in your life to back up that claim. So the more proof that you find that backs up that claim, the more you believe you're not confident. Okay? Remember, what you focus on grows. So we need to get rid of that way of thinking. I'm going to throw that out. And then what's going to happen, okay, is, well, before you throw that out, I forgot one crucial part, is you want to look at that version of yourself and then look at the 2.0 on the screen, okay? Look at them both so you really see the black and white differences. Then you can throw that shit out, okay? Then, as the last-ish step, what you now need to do, this is crucial because it's so easy to do this. You have this 2.0 version, and then you get rid of the tab and you're like, yeah, I'll log into it soon. You ain't logging into it soon. That's not going to happen. Come on. You know it. I know it. It's just not going to happen. We have to drown ourselves and be obsessed with that, or is it won't fucking happen. All right. So what are some ways that we can get obsessed over it and drown ourselves in that? The first thing is a tab, the Miro tab, leave it open in your Google Chrome, your Safari, whatever you're using. Leave it open or pin it, one of the two. So every time you come into it, the fucker is there as a tab. And you click onto it every now and then throughout the day. Keep on going onto it. Look at the bloody thing. Look at your name 2.0. Look at the pictures. Look at the values. Look at the habits. Look at everything. Drown yourself in that. So we've got that as a tab. Okay, then what you can also do is print it off. Print off the page, you can print off the individual things, take screenshots, print off the screenshots, whatever you need to do. You've got papers, you can either put it on your table, you can put it on a pin board, you can blue tack it to the wall, whatever you need to do to surround yourself with it. It might sound OTT, but you have to be OTT because you need to understand that the current version of you right now has been created from the amount of years you've been on this planet. So if you're, for example, 36 years old and you're suffering with low self-confidence, okay, you've gotten to where you are now because of the journey that you've been on for the last 36 years. Okay, you're not going to get rid of it overnight. You have to put in a lot of work to actually then start to step out of that you built 36 years, yeah, and then step into this new thing that you're doing. Okay, so you have to drown yourself in it. So we're going to put it everywhere. You can also put some things on your phone. You can put it as a screensaver on your phone if you want to. And then also, coming back to the music, what I want you to do is just start listening to that playlist that you've done of that music, and also the Pinterest. Keep on going into the Pinterest. And I do that a lot, the Pinterest. But that's because I'm a visual person. If you're not a visual person, then you need to find your own way of drowning yourself in this sort of world of the 2.0 version of yourself. But the music, When you go into the gym, you're walking your dog, you're cooking, listen to the music. Now, what may help you even more with this is when you're looking at the 2.0 version of yourself, that whole board, listen to the music as you're looking at that. Because what that does is the audio and the visual aspects create a connection, right? And then once a connection has been created, and then you go out there and you're doing things in your life and you listen to the music, it goes back to that connection. Yeah. So I hope that makes sense. So start listening to the music when you're doing a bunch of different things to constantly reinforce what you need to do to get into 2.0. And then lastly, it's just moving 1% closer to that 2.0 version of yourself every day. So you wake up, how can I move the needle forward by just 1%? Is it listening to one song? Is it looking at my values and just allowing it to soak in? Like, you don't need to go OTT every day because that can be quite unachievable. Just do something small. Believing that the compound effect will take over. And once the compound effect has taken over, then you will start to see your life changing and you will see yourself step into the shoes of 2.0. And once you've fully done that, then you can get to that point when you get to it and start creating a 3.0 version of yourself. But let's get into the shoes at 2.0 by moving the needle forward by just 1% every day, taking one small step of action to get into that 2.0 version. All right. I hope that makes sense. Now, I hope you can see now why this, what you may think long-winded way of doing it, is the answer for you to grow that self-confidence. Why? Because you're creating the confidence in 2.0. You're creating it. You're manifesting it. You're saying, you're demanding, like, that 2.0 version of me, that's a fucking confident person. She does whatever they want when they want. They don't give a fuck. All right? Great. Now, in the beginning, to you, that might sound like it's a load of horseshit and be like, yeah, but I am actually scared about doing that. Okay, cool. Don't vocalize that. Allow that dialogue to go inside your head and ignore it and tell it to shut up because it's not serving you. And do it anyway, okay? Allow yourself to sweat, do whatever, but just know that the 2.0 version of you is already living a life where they do that for breakfast, okay? So shit yourself over doing it now and just know that eventually you'll also be doing it for breakfast too. And you'll look back and be like, wow, I've come a long way. But it starts from now, doing the scary things now to step into the shoes of this person that you have or are about to create after watching this. All right. I hope that helps. This is the way that I've been doing it since the age of 16 years old, growing my self-confidence today by creating characters, the next version of myself to step into the shoes of. And I hope that it works for you too. If you enjoyed this, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and I'm happy to help in any way that I can. I'll see you in the next one.